Good evening, good evening, good evening. How is everybody today? Happy Thursday. If it's Thursday where you are, hope you're having a great day today. I'm having a good day. It's a nice day here in Tokyo. Well, oh, I've got some echo happening here. Okay, I fixed that. It's coming out the wrong speaker. Okay. Yeah, I'm having a good day. It's really hot here, like I've been saying every day, but it's today was not so bad. It was a little bit manageable today. So it was better than usual, and it didn't rain today either, so that is also a plus. If you joined my lesson yesterday, we had a great lesson yesterday. We learned an advanced way to give advice, and if you didn't catch that lesson, I would recommend watching it. That lesson, we used a grammar pattern that followed this. So we practice instead of. So instead of plus the verb, which is in the ing form. And then we gave, some advice or suggestions or ideas. It's kind of like alternative advice. Okay. But in today's lesson, we are going to focus on some advanced phrasal verbs. Advanced phrasal verbs. I'm trying to balance the lessons where we do some grammar lessons, we do some vocabulary lessons. So recently we've been doing a lot of grammar. So I'm coming back to phrasal verbs today, and I'm going to put the lesson onto the screen as I always do. So let's share that right now with you. We're going to learn 10 new phrases today. 10 new phrases, 10 phrasal verbs. We'll go over each one individually so we understand what each one means. And then after that, we'll do a fill in the blank exercise as well. All right, so it says it right there, phrasal verbs. We're not really going to go into grammar today. We'll just jump right into the vocabulary. If there are some grammar issues during the lesson, I'll address them then. But for now, let's just go over the 10 new phrasal verbs. So let me just scroll down here, and we can see we've got 10 right here. We'll go over each one individually, and what I'll do is I will put an example sentence on the screen, and by reading the example sentence, I think you probably should understand what each of these means. All right, so let's look at the very first one. First one says brush up on. Brush up on. Okay, so I'm going to put an example sentence on the screen. And from this example sentence, what do you think it means? My example sentence on the screen says, I need to brush up on my Spanish before the trip. I need to brush up on my Spanish before the trip. So what do you think that means? All right, so if you're going to brush up on something, so basically what you're doing here is you're trying to improve your knowledge. You're trying to, review and study something again. But basically you're trying to improve it. So let's put the definition onto the screen here. All right, so let's look here. Okay, so make it a little bit smaller so it fits onto the screen. All right, so my definition here, I've written to improve your knowledge of something. But the knowledge of something is something you have learned in the past, right? You're not brushing up on anything new. This is not new knowledge. This is something that you have studied, in the past. You've learned it in the past. So you're trying to improve that knowledge. All right. So in the example sentence on the screen, it says, I need to brush up on my Spanish before the trip. This means I have learned Spanish in the past, but I will go to Spain, or maybe I'll go to Mexico. Maybe I'll go to Argentina. Maybe I'll be going to Peru, a Spanish-speaking country. So before I go, I want to kind of review. I want to improve my knowledge. So I would say I'm going to brush up on my Spanish. I need to brush up on my computer skills. Improve your knowledge or ability. Okay, now remember, if you have any questions regarding any of these, feel free to ask me in the comments section. So let's look at the next one. It says ease off. Ease off. Okay, what does ease off mean? All right, I'm going to give you an example sentence here. That's not the example sentence, but this is. The pain will ease off once the medication starts working. The pain will ease off once the medication starts working. So from this sentence, what do you think ease off means? All right, so the pain will ease off once the medication starts working. For me, the answer for this, it means you're basically going to decrease something. The intensity or the severity of something will reduce. It will decrease. So here we're saying the pain will reduce. Right? The pain will reduce. So the pain will ease off. The pain will reduce once the medication starts working, once the medication kicks in. All right. Now, it doesn't have to be only about pain. If you're going to reduce the intensity or severity, I coach basketball. And sometimes when I'm coaching, I am very strict and I push my players very hard. But some days, when it's a long day, maybe it's a Friday, everybody's tired, I sometimes ease off of the team. I ease off of the players. That means I reduce my intensity. Okay, so I can ease off someone. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Number 3. Number 3, if we look at the screen, it says gear up for. Let's get the banner off the screen right now so we can see everything clearly. And I'm going to move it up. I'll leave number 2 on the screen so you know what it means. And number 3 is next. Number 3 says gear up for. Gear up for. And I'm going to give you an example sentence for gear up for. All right, so let's give you an example sentence of that. I'll put it into the banner section here. Okay, this one's going to be kind of sports related. My sentence says, we're gearing up for the big game this weekend. We're gearing up for the big game this weekend. Paramesh, how are you today? How are you doing? I'm doing well, buddy. Thanks for asking. How are you doing? This one here is gear up. We're gearing up for the big game. All right, so that means you have a big game. Big game means maybe a very important game. You have a very important game, so you're gearing up for the game. You're gearing up for the game. You're good. That's good, Paramesh. Good to good. Good to hear. Good to hear. So to gear up for the big game, basically what this is going to mean is that you're going to be getting ready. You're going to be getting ready for the game. Pretty much win, okay? But before you win, you have to get ready. You have to prepare, right? So that's what this would mean. It means to, prepare for the event, prepare for the game, get ready for the game. All right, so I'm going to put that in here. To prepare for an event or activity. Now we use it, for anything, especially, if we're talking about a game, you're going to gear up. It means you need to prepare for it. You need to gear up for the big presentation. Sometimes this can be physical. I'm sure everybody has watched different movies, maybe different police movies or war movies. And, sometimes in the movie, let's say the characters will go to some type of battle or some type of dangerous situation. So before they go, they need to wear special equipment like the bulletproof vest and helmets, and must get all their equipment ready. So a lot of times the leader of the group will tell the team, okay, everybody gear up. And in that situation, you're actually putting gear, which is equipment, onto your body. You're getting ready. You're preparing for some event. All right. Paramesh, good job. Good job. All right. And so next, let's look at hinge on. Hinge on. And I'm going to give you an example sentence of hinge on. I'll probably give you a couple of example sentences of hinge on because the first one is not the best. It might still be a little bit difficult to understand. His decision hinges on whether he gets the job offer. Okay, and let's actually make this a little bit better. Let's make it a little bit easier to understand. Let's add a little bit more information to this. In this situation, it says his decision to buy a new car hinges on whether he gets the job offer. His decision to buy a new car hinges on whether he gets the job offer. So he hasn't decided to buy a new car. So his decision, what can we talk about? What can we say about the decision? Well, it hinges on whether he gets the job offer. And then we can say or not. Okay, so if he gets the job offer or he doesn't get the job offer, all right, anybody know, what do you guys think this means? All right, so this one here, to hinge on, simply just means depends on. Depends on. A little longer definition could be that. Depends on, or to depend on something completely. It depends on something completely. Plan is a great guess, Paramesh. That's a great guess. I like it. It's a little bit more, it depends on. So maybe I want to buy a new car. I want to buy a new car, but I'm not going to buy it unless I get the new job offer. So it depends on that. If I get the new job, if I get the job offer, then I'll buy a car. But if I don't get the job, then I won't buy the car. So it all depends on the job offer. And that's what hinges on me. It hinges on the job offer. Okay. Now, we can use this for many situations. If I'm playing a sporting event, if I'm playing a basketball game, and I have my teammate is a great player, star player, right? And I might say to that player, or the coach might say, the game hinges on you. It means that the result depends on you. So you're very important. Depends on is what hinge on means. Okay, let's look at the next one. Iron out. Iron out. What does iron out mean? Let's move that up a little bit. Iron out. And I give you an example sentence here. Let's put an example. We need to iron out the details before the meeting. We need to iron out the details before the meeting. So that's an example sentence for iron out. So what do you think it means? This is a really common one. We use this a lot in business as well. This is a great one to use in business. Now, I want you to think what iron is. Like, what's an iron? An iron is a tool that we use. And what does an iron do? Okay. Paramish, yeah, about clarity. Yes, you're on the right track. You're on the right track, Paramish. So let's just look at the word, like the actual tool of an iron. Okay, let's imagine this is an iron. Okay, it's tissues, but let's imagine it's an iron. I use the iron, and the action is actually ironing. And what an iron does is it's going to make the clothing smooth. It's going to remove all of the wrinkles. So an iron is going to make any type of clothing smooth without wrinkles. And that's what this means, right? So if you iron out something, you make some situation smooth. You remove the problems, all right? So you're going to make everything smooth. You're going to remove any issues or problems or differences. Okay, so we've got here to resolve or smooth out problems or differences. To resolve or smooth out problems or differences. It's kind of like what a regular iron does, right? The wrinkles are the problems. All right, let's continue. Let's continue. All right, the next one here is going to be lay into. Lay into. I'll leave number 5 on the screen, and we'll go to number 6. Lay into. I like this one. This is a really good one. And I'm going to put up an example sentence on the screen. All right, the coach laid into the team for not trying hard enough. The coach laid into the team for not trying hard enough. What does that mean? The coach laid into the team for not trying hard enough. So I want you to imagine if you were on a team and you and your teammates, you didn't try hard during the game. How would the coach feel? What would the coach do? Right? I think for me, if I were the coach, I would be very, very angry. And maybe I would yell at the team. Come on, you need to play harder. I would probably be quite angry. Okay? And that's what this means. If someone lays into you, or if you lay into someone, that means you're going to be criticizing them. You're going to be getting angry at them, or we can say scolding them. To criticize or scold someone very harshly. All right, so the coach criticized, the coach scolded the team for not trying hard. So scolded means to become or get angry. Okay, scold means to get angry. And not get angry, but get angry at someone. So you're going to get angry at someone, not just inside, but you're actually angry with someone. Okay. All right, let's look at the next one. Leave number 6 on the screen. Next one is nod off. Nod off. All right, and the example sentence I'm going to be putting here is this. All right, he nodded off during the movie because he was so tired. He nodded off during the movie because he was so tired. I have done that. I have been to movies where I've nodded off. And yeah, it's because I've been angry. I've been very tired. Maybe the movie was boring. So I've nodded off before. So what does nod off mean? What does nod off mean? There's one thing here, one thing that's going to be really important to learn about nodding off. I'm going to put the definition on the screen. It means to fall asleep. But I think the second part is really important. It says often unintentionally. Unintentionally. Now, unintentionally is a very difficult vocabulary word. Basically, unintentionally means not on purpose. Not on purpose. Okay. For example, in the evening, let's say it's midnight, you're tired, you go to your room, you go to your bedroom, and the purpose is to sleep. So you go to your room to sleep. So you're doing it on purpose. But in this situation, I'm at the movie, I want to watch the movie, but I'm tired. And as I'm watching, I just nod off, right? So it just happens. I didn't plan to sleep. It just happened. Okay, so let's look at number 8. Pick up on. Pick up on. All right, this is also a great one here to pick up on. I'm going to put a sentence on the screen. All right. And the sentence I have here is, she picked up on the mistake right away. She picked up on the mistake right away. All right, so she picked up on the mistake right away. Right. So basically what this is saying is that you realize something. You realize something. You become aware of something. You notice something. So she picked up on the mistake right away. She noticed the mistake right away. She realized it. She became aware of it. All right. So if you pick up on something that, you become aware of it, you notice something. All right, let's move on to number 9. Number 9, vouch for. Vouch for. I love that. I love the pronunciation of this word. Vouch for. And I'm going to put an example sentence on the screen. All right. The example sentence says, I can vouch for her. She is very reliable. I can vouch for her. She is very reliable. Okay, so reliable means I can trust her. So I can vouch for her. What does that mean? Right? Vouch. All right. So the example here, the sentence is, I can vouch for her. She's very reliable. I want you to imagine, my friend, she is going to try to get a new job. And the new company, I know the boss. I know the manager. And so that boss maybe asks me, hey, Shelly, can you tell me about your friend? She's trying to join my company. And if I believe my friend, I trust her, I think she's reliable, dependable, responsible, then I would say to the boss, I would say to my friend, you know what? You should hire her. I can vouch for her. I can vouch for her. It means I am saying that she is a good person. I am saying that you can believe, you can trust her. Right? So if you say something, let's make this a little smaller so it fits into the screen here. Okay. One sec. Let me just make this smaller so it's easier to see. Okay. So if we read the screen, it says, to say that someone or something is honest, true, or good based on your knowledge or experience. So I'm saying my friend is good. She's honest. She's reliable because I've known her for a long time. And Paramesh, trust, perfect. Perfect. So I'm vouching for her. That means I'm putting my name, and I'm saying, please believe me, she is good. All right, good job, Paramesh. All right, let's look at the last one. Zone in on. Zone in on. All right, and I'm going to put an example sentence on the screen. All right, the students zoned in on the teacher's instructions. The students zoned in on the teacher's instructions. Now, I'll give you an example, like an opposite sentence. And for the opposite sentence, I'll put it on the screen. Okay, here's the opposite. This is the opposite. Not zone in on, but zone out. Zone out. So my example sentence, it says, I don't know what to do. I completely zoned out when the teacher was explaining the task. I don't know what to do. I completely zoned out when the teacher was explaining the task. So here, this is the opposite. Okay. If you zone out, It means you space out. You just lose all attention. You lose all focus. So that means if you zone out, you don't focus, so you can't focus, then that means the opposite is the same for zone in. All right, so if it's zone in, let's put it back to the purple letter. Right, if it's zone in on, that means you're going to focus all your attention on something. You're going to focus all of your attention on something. All right, so if you're playing sports, if you're studying, if you're working, it's important to zone in on your task. Focus on it. Pay attention to something very closely in a lot of detail. Okay, so that was 10 phrasal verbs. Let's do a quick little recap. Number one, brush up on means to improve your knowledge of something that you have learned in the past. Ease off means to reduce the severity or intensity. Gear up, prepare for something. Hinge on, depends on something. Iron out, resolve any problem. Lay into, criticize, get angry at. Nod off, fall asleep, right? Not on purpose, unintentionally. Pick up on, notice something, you become aware of it. Vouch for, you're saying that someone is good or you can trust someone. And last one, zone in on, focus your attention on something. Okay, so that's 10 of these phrasal verbs. And what we'll do now is I'll actually put it as a banner. I'm going to put it as a banner, and I'm going to get all the phrasal verbs onto the screen. So let's put all of these on as a banner. Okay, I'm just going to put some spaces in here so it's easier to read. And so what we're going to do next is, now that we've gone over all 10 of these phrasal verbs, we'll do a simple fill in the blank exercise. All right, so the phrasal verbs we learned today are on the screen. So next thing we're going to do is we are going to focus on the fill in the blank. You can see we have a sentence with a missing phrasal verb. So looking at your screen, choose the correct phrasal verb for this sentence. So the sentence says, the success of our plan will something our ability to secure additional funding. So first part, I think everybody understands. The success of our plan. Our ability means can we? Secure, get. Can we get? Additional means extra. And then funding just means money. Money. So that means, this plan can be successful if we get more money, right? We want this, we want money. So what is the phrasal verb we would use in this situation? So the success of our plan will something our ability to secure additional funding. All right, so that means if I want my plan to be successful, I need extra money. No extra money, no success. So I would say that it depends on depends on additional funding. Now, the phrasal verb that we learned for depend on is going to be hinge on. All right, the success of our plan will hinge on our ability to secure additional funding. Okay, so number 1 is done. Let's keep moving to number 2. All right, number 2 says, after a long day at work, I couldn't help but something during the presentation. Now, in this presentation, you are not giving, you're watching the presentation. You're watching the presentation. So after a long day at work, I couldn't help but something during the presentation. All right, so here, keywords here, long day at work. Long day at work. I couldn't help but something during the presentation. All right, so what do we have here? Paramesh, you've got gear up for. Gear up for. Is this for number 1 or number 2? Number 1 is hinge on. Number 2, not gear up for, because right here, keyword here, after a long day at work. If you have a very long day at work, you're probably very tired. If you're tired, then, XYZ, you've got it here, nod off. After a long day at work, I couldn't help but nod off during the presentation. Okay? All right, so after a long day at work, I couldn't help but nod off during the presentation. So I couldn't help but sleep. I couldn't help but fall asleep, nod off during the presentation. Again, this is not on purpose. I'm not trying to sleep. It just happened. I nodded off. Supergirl, nod off. Perfect. All right, let's look now at number 3. Make this a little bit. There we go. So it fits. All right, so number 3 says, before the project can proceed, we must something all the remaining issues. Before the project can proceed, we must something all of the remaining issues. All right, so before the project can proceed, we must something all of the remaining issues. I'll give you a hint in a little bit. Before that, I'll let some of you try to guess. I want you to imagine. Remember this. All right, remember that. All right, so before the project can proceed, we must, Supergirl, iron out. Paramesh, iron out. Perfect. Before the project can proceed, we must iron out all the remaining issues. We must solve them. We must make it smooth. We must resolve any issues. Perfect. Good job, Paramesh. Good job, Supergirl. Okay, let's actually put that answer on here. We must iron out all of the remaining issues. Okay, let's go to number 4. Okay, number 4 says, as the deadline approaches, The pressure in the office has started to something a bit. What can we answer for this? All right, so this one here, and usually, well, this is, I actually don't like this sentence. Let's change this sentence to make it a little bit easier to understand. Let's change this sentence to make it a little bit easier to understand. All right, I've got here, as the deadline approaches, the pressure in the office has started to something a bit. Okay. Let's change this. Okay. Let's say, as the project has been completed. As the project has been completed, the pressure in the office has started to something a bit. All right, so that means here the project is done. I don't have to work on the project. We've completed it. We've completed the project. So if you complete the project, not pick up on, if you complete a project, usually the pressure in the office is going to reduce. There's less stress. So which of these phrasal verbs means to reduce? Reduce stress, reduce intensity. So for me, this one here, as the project has been completed, the pressure in the office has started to, and I want to make sure everybody has a chance to try. All right, so we don't have any answers, so I'm going to put the answer ease up. Ease up, or ease off, sorry. Ease up would also work, but let's keep it uniform. Ease off a bit. And Paramesh, perfect, ease off. As the project has been completed, the pressure in the office has started to ease off a bit. Okay, excellent. Number 5. Let's get a little smaller so it all fits in. There we go. She quickly something the professor's subtle hint about the upcoming quiz. She quickly something the professor's subtle hint about the upcoming quiz. All right, so she quickly something the professor's subtle hint What do you guys think this one is? All right, so this one here, Parmesh, I actually think your previous answer, it would be really good for this one. So she quickly understood, she quickly realized, and Supergirl has the answer, picked up on. She quickly picked up on the professor's subtle hint about the upcoming quiz. I want you to imagine that the professor gives like a really small hint during the lesson. Most people didn't realize it, but she picked up on it. She understood it. She realized it. Okay, so she understood something. All right, so let's put that onto the screen here. And make sure we do past tense, right? So picked up on. She quickly picked up on the professor's subtle hint about the upcoming quiz. Okay. Let's go to the next one, number 6. We have 5 more to go. Let's go to number 6. Number 6 says, the lawyer will something her client's honesty, integrity in court. The lawyer will something her client's honesty and integrity in court. All right, what do you guys think this one is? The lawyer will something her client's honesty and integrity in court. All right, so here, if I'm the lawyer, and I'm talking about my client's honesty and integrity. I believe my client is very honest. I believe my client is very, has integrity. So Supergirl has the answer here. The lawyer will vouch for her client's honesty and integrity in court. Okay, vouch for. Very good, Supergirl. All right, let's go. Next, number 7. All right, number 7 says, the team is something for the final match of the tournament. The team is something for the final match of the tournament. Paramesh, vouch for. Number 6, excellent. Excellent. All right, what about number 7? The team is something for the final match of the tournament. Now, you might know the vocabulary word to use, okay, but my hint, be careful of your grammar here. Make sure you make a good sentence. All right, number 7, the team is something for the final match of the tournament. All right, what do we think the answer for this is? For me, you have a final match of the tournament. So yeah, you need to get ready. And Paramesh, gear up. Yeah, right. You chose the correct phrasal verb. We just need to make sure that the grammar is correct. We want to make sure we're following correct grammatical rules. So the team is gearing up. That means they're right now getting ready. So the team is gearing up for the final match of the tournament. So we need present continuous here. Okay, let's move to number 8. Okay, number 8 says he tends to something employees who make mistakes, sometimes unfairly. He tends to something employees who make mistakes, sometimes unfairly. All right, what do you guys think number 8 is? He tends to something employees who make mistakes, sometimes unfairly. So let's say that this guy, this boss is not good. It's not good. In Paramesh, you have the perfect answer. Lay into. He tends to lay into employees who make mistakes, sometimes unfairly. Yeah, that is not good. Nobody likes a boss like that, to lay into someone who make mistakes, sometimes unfairly. Let's actually put the answer here. I forgot to do that. All right, lay into. Okay, so let's go to number 9. Number 9 says, it's time to something your grammar skills for the upcoming exam. For the upcoming exam. What would we say here? It's time to... All right, so but this, because you have a test, you know, you have an upcoming exam, and grammar skills, probably you've already studied it, but you just want to review it. You want to try to improve that skill. And Paramesh, you're right. Brush up on. It's time to brush up on your grammar skills for the upcoming exam. Perfect. All right, so let's put that answer here. Brush up on. Okay, and last one is number 10. It says the study something, the specific factors that contribute to successful business startups. All right, so the study something, the specific factors that contribute to successful business startups. All right, what do we think is the answer for this? All right, now here, the study, if you're wondering what the study means like the research paper, the article, the document. It doesn't mean to physically study something. It means document or report or paper. So the paper, something, the specific factors that contribute to successful business startups. What do we think here? All right, so we're talking about the study. We're not talking about someone, but the answer is going to be the study zones in on. The study zones in on. All right, so we have to make sure that our subject and verb match. That's why I have the S right here. Zones in on. The study, it zones in on the specific factors that contribute to successful business startups. All right. All right, so that was 10. All right, we went over 10 different phrasal verbs. These are all advanced phrasal verbs. So they're a little bit difficult, but they're very useful, okay? Just to recap, brush up on, review some knowledge of something that you've already learned. Ease off means don't be so severe or strict. Gear up, get ready to do something. Hinge on, it depends. Iron out, you're trying to make every problem go away. Yeah, you're trying to smooth out an issue. Lay into, scold someone, get angry at someone. Nod off, fall asleep on not on purpose. Pick up on, realize, understand, vouch for. Vouch for says that you are, you believe in someone. So I vouch for him means I believe him. Right. And last one, zone in on, focus on something. All right. Supergirl, great job. Paramesh, excellent. And then, of course, zone out as well. Zone out means, you don't focus on anything. Okay. So 10 excellent phrasal verbs. It's important that you try to remember these. My idea for you, if you want some homework, you can see all the phrasal verbs on the screen. Choose one, choose two, choose as many as you want, make a sentence, and leave it in the comment section. Can be any kind of sentence you want, okay? Choose one of those phrasal verbs, though. Okay? It's important that you choose one of the phrasal verbs. So, for example, if you just wanted to see an example, right, you can go choose any phrasal verb. Let's say hinge on. Okay. All right. So one sec. This is not working properly. The success of the deal hinges on their price. The success of the deal hinges on their price. So I'm saying that their price, it depends on their price. Hello, Nancy. How are you? All right. And again, you can choose any one. Any one of these phrasal verbs, choose it, make a sentence, leave it in the comment section. That will be your homework. Here's another example sentence. Because the Olympics are being held in Paris, I really want to brush up on my French. All right, because the Olympics are being held in Paris, I really want to brush up on my French. I have studied French for a long time. I'm from Canada, so we do have to study French in Canada, but I haven't done it for a long time. But to brush up on means I would review it, try to improve my ability, improve my knowledge of French. So you brush up on something. You're doing well. Great, Nancy. Great. Excellent. Paramesh, one of my friends is very clever, as he always brushes up his knowledge. Excellent sentence, Paramesh. Excellent sentence. Very well done. Perfect. Right? And again, we can make any sentence, right? If I chose ease off, maybe I would say, I really wish my professor would ease off of me. He is always getting angry at me. All right, so I want my professor just to relax, stop being so strict with me. All right, that's another example sentence. Lay into. Hey, Miranda, Yeah, it is going to be over soon, but we're just going over some of the phrasal verbs. I'm giving people a chance to make their own sentences. So I've got the phrasal verbs on the screen, Miranda and Nancy. We went through all of these already. And right now we're just giving people a chance to make an example sentence. Those are 3 of my example sentences here. Lay into. Today, and like I said, today I actually was coaching basketball, and I laid into the team because they were not focused. They were not, zoning in on the practice. So I laid into the team. It means I got very angry at them. Nod off. That happened to me last Sunday. I went to a movie. And I nodded off. I nodded off for like 30 minutes. I didn't want to sleep, but it just happened. That's okay, Miranda, but you're here now. That's good. So you can practice making some of the sentences. The phrasal verbs are on the screen. If you're not sure what one of them means, we can go over it. So that's fine. So Paramesh, he never lays into his colleagues. That's great. It's important. I think you never really want to lay into your colleagues or coworkers. Good sentence. I don't think you need the as well as. You can remove that from the beginning of the sentence, Paramesh. Now, pick up on is a great one. Like, pick up on means you realize something. And we will use this in regular sentences, regular situations, but I often see this in movies and TV shows. Let's say there's a TV show where, I'm let's say if I'm a character, I'm in a diner in a restaurant, and I see at another table, I see a young girl and maybe her boyfriend or some man, but she doesn't look happy. She looks afraid. Something looks strange, right? And I kind of make eye contact with her, and I feel something is not right. And so when they leave, maybe I will tell the police, or I'll tell, one of the staff members. I might just say, I don't know, I picked up on something strange. It means I realized something was not correct. I realized something was strange. So pick up on is often used in these like detective suspense TV shows. Miranda, lay into is be angry. Yeah, it means to not only be angry, but it's to be angry at someone. So you're actually scolding them. You're scolding them. Because just to be angry, sometimes I don't say anything, right? You can just be angry. If something happened to me, if I saw someone on the train and they did something that I didn't like, it made me angry. But I didn't say anything. But if I lay into someone, that means I'm yelling at them. I'm scolding them. Like, how could you do that? Why did you do that? So I'm actually getting angry with them or at them. So Paramesh, I believe his company is zoning in on new technology. No for, Paramesh. And again, here's another basketball example. This actually happened to me today. I had a parent, not a parent, someone I know. He came to the practice today. He is a parent, but he came up to me and said that one of his friends wanted to help coach, wanted to learn how to coach, wanted to be, help to be an assistant coach. And I don't know this person, but my friend said, I can vouch for him. He's a good player, good coach, good person, right? So he's saying that you can trust him because he trusts him. So he said, I can vouch for him. Paramesh, yes. I believe his company is zoning in on new technology. I believe his company is zoning in on some new technology. Okay. That works, but zone in is usually not more company, but it's more people, right? Someone wants to zone in on something. Not really the company, but people would be better, Paramesh. Miranda, yes, correct. Yeah, intuitive people often pick up on something wrong. Exactly. Exactly. Excellent sentence. And that's a correct statement as well. You can pick up, intuitive people do pick up on things that are wrong. I'm going to have a big barbecue at my house this weekend. So tomorrow I need to gear up for that barbecue. I need to gear up for that barbecue. All right, so that means I need to get ready for the barbecue. That means prepare, right? Yes, Miranda, exactly. To gear up means to prepare. Before any type of performance, and recently we saw the opening ceremonies for the Olympics, like in Paris, and whatever performance you have, usually the day before or a few days before, you have a rehearsal, right? And you basically have the rehearsal to iron out any of the issues with the performance. So you iron things out at the rehearsal. All right, so no to, Paramesh, no to. You've already got the preposition on. I believe he is zoning in on new technology. No to. So we've got the preposition on, so we don't need another preposition. So in on, and then that's it. Yeah, so the dress rehearsals are a great chance for you to iron out all of the details. Before a presentation, we should gear up for it, not on it, but gear up for it. Yeah, and that gear up, if you gear up for a presentation, it could be kind of mental as well, mental preparation. Okay, yeah, that works better, Paramesh, zoning in on new technology. Okay, I would make it not as broad though. Like that sentence is great, but zone in is just you're focusing something. You're gonna focus on it. let me give you another example. Like a simple one here. Like if we just want to say focus, right? If we really want to focus on something, I could make a sentence like this. Let's put it onto the screen. Where it is, there it is. Sentence like that, maybe. He zoned in on the math problem and solved it quickly. He focused right in on the math problem and solved it quickly. Iron out, what does it mean? Iron out means that you're basically going to be smoothing out any problems or details or issues. All right, so you're going to be resolving, solving, smoothing out any problems or issues. So if two companies are trying to make a deal, a contract, sometimes it's difficult to make that deal, so they need to iron out all of the details. We need to solve all of the problems. Like I said, the dress rehearsal, if you practice for a big performance, you need to iron out all of the kinks, we say. So that means you're making everything smooth, resolving all the problems. For example, if we're not talking about contracts, if we're not talking about the dress rehearsals and performances, let's say it's a different example, and I'll put it into the chat box here. They had to iron out the problems with the new software. They had to iron out the problems with the new software. All right, so they had to solve the problems for the new software. Okay, so yeah, it's great to actually make example sentences. So I would suggest you do that. It's a great way to practice to see if you actually understand what it means. And it's a great way to actually use it, because then you can start using it in your speaking as well. So make sure you do that. Make a sentence, leave it in the comments section. You can do that now. You can do it later. You can think about it. You can choose one of these phrasal verbs, or you can do all of them. It's up to you. So, and if any of these words are still a little bit confusing, feel free to ask any questions that you may have. And of course, you can always go back. I've put all of the definitions, and there are sample fill in the blanks here that we did, but all of the definitions for these phrasal verbs are right here. I know the screen is really small right now, but I just wanted to make sure everybody can see that they're all there. Make it bigger. Brush up on, ease off, gear up for, hinge on, which I love. I love hinge on, iron out, lay into, nod off, pick up on, vouch for, zone in on. And then I gave a bonus one here, which is zone out. Zone out, which is the opposite of zone in. Zone out means you kind of space out. You don't focus. Your mind is just gone. You're not You're not concentrating or focusing on anything. So I was at a presentation, I was at a meeting, and I completely zoned out. I have no idea what they said. That means I wasn't listening. I couldn't listen. My mind was somewhere else. Okay, so let's call it a lesson. And again, remember, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Always at the end here. Anybody who's watching this on the replay as well, if you're watching this on the replay, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And if you're not a subscriber, then hit the subscribe button, right? It's easy to do. It's that button somewhere on the screen. Just hit it. Miranda, yeah, it's kind of like daydreaming. It's kind of like, you know, when you zone out, it's kind of like daydreaming, but sometimes it's nothing. Your mind is just blank. You kind of just lost. I've done that. I've zoned out. Yeah, it's weird. Sometimes you just zone out sometimes. I've zoned out while I was driving. I drove past a policeman. I was speeding too much. And I zoned out and he stopped me. No worry at all, Miranda. No worry. I enjoy having you in class. So if you have any questions, I'm here. But yeah, zoning, it's like daydreaming. But yeah, your mind is somewhere else. And it's not focusing on what you should be doing. Do you zone out, Miranda? I zone out sometimes. Okay, guys. Great job. Great job. Great job. Well done. Paramesh, good job. Supergirl, well done. Miranda, awesome. I'm glad I was able to talk to you tonight. Nancy as well, if you're still here. It's good to see you again as well. Next live will be Saturday morning. Saturday morning will be the next live. And I'm actually experimenting. Right now I'm going to do it Saturday morning. I might do a second one Saturday evening, just to see how everybody feels. On Saturdays, I don't know what time people like the lessons. I've generally been doing them quite early in the morning because I do them before I work. But I'm thinking about doing it in the evening. So if anybody has a specific time, a day that you want to have a live lesson, just let me know. All right. And until I hear from you, for now, Saturday morning will be a lesson for sure. Possibly a second one later in the day on Saturday. All right. All right, guys. Please have a great night. Have a great Thursday or whatever day it is. And I will see you guys all on the weekend. All right. See ya.